We are Gathering of the Geeks, podcast and YouTube show built around the things we as geeks all love. Thank you for checking out the one where the Lagoon can have him. I'm one of your hosts, Emmet, and I'm joined by the Ted Lasso to my coach Beard, Chris Evans. Chris, how you doing?
Excellent. How are you doing?
I'm doing very good. Gathering of the Geeks is available on YouTube and wherever you get your fine podcasts, friends. So just search for us on those fine places and you'll find our fine podcast right there. What's up, Ian? What's up, Phil? How's everybody doing on this fine Sunday evening, a national holiday? What's the holiday, Ian? Something special? Hopefully not something bad.
Hello to Lily and Daisy. We're glad to have you.
We'll take all the views we can get. Make sure they're each watching on their own separate devices. That helps the viewer count.
That's terrible.
Hey, wait, Phil. I'll get it where I can get it.
Fair enough.
Chris, you ever lost your wallet before?
Oh yes, I did.
What's that process like? Because I feel like I've lost my wallet. So tomorrow will be a very busy day for me. What's the process here?
So it's kind of funny. The night before I went to a movie, I was out all night, and
right.
I came back and I didn't realize that the next day I needed my ID for something. I was like, hey, I don't have my ID.
Yeah.
I looked like I called the theater. Hey, do you guys have it? Did anybody turn it in? Can I come look? I went back to the theater, like deep cleaned the seats, basically looking for it. I asked my buddy, hey, because I was in his car for like 10 minutes. Hey, is my wallet in your car? I went all around, like tracing my steps, and then I came back home, kind of like, all right, I guess I gotta call the credit card companies, figure out how to get my driver's license back. My wallet was in the driveway in a puddle of water. So the process was just basically get a new debit card, because that's the only thing I'd called at that point.
Oh, that's good.
That was my process.
Yeah, that's good. Well, that's an easy process because you didn't end up losing it. You just lost it for a couple little while.
Hours.
Yeah. Yeah, tomorrow will be 48 hours for me.
Oh no.
So it's obviously the weekend, so you can't do too much. But I have one more place to check tomorrow, and then it will be to get a driver's license, bank card, credit card, health card. Got to get one of those. So, yeah, that's right. It wasn't a theater for me, unfortunately. So
okay.
It seems like always such a you know what the biggest problem is about losing your wallet? It's not the things inside the wallet. It's now I have to get a new wallet. Like I've had this wallet for 20 years.
Really?
Yes.
What kind of wallet is it?
It's called Roots. Roots is a big company up here in Canada.
I was hoping it was like a cartoon or like a character.
The Velcro.
Like the Animaniacs wallet. That's what I was hoping.
That would be funny. Yeah. No, just a good genuine leather wallet, but like finding a new wallet, like that seems more scary to me than having to get a new driver's license or a new credit card or something.
That's understandable. I switch my wallets out every few years though. My brother just bought me a wallet for Christmas, but I don't really like it, so I'm not using it. It's kind of like a purse.
What do you mean? You got a like a crossbody type of deal?
No, if that was the case, I'd be fine with that because I think that looks cool sometimes. I'm gonna be like Joey from Friends. It's a man bag. No, it's it's like a square wallet shaped thing with a zipper that goes all the way around it. So anytime I want to use it, I have to use the zipper. And I just find that really annoying. And it looks like it has a ring, so you could put some type of strap on it, I guess, so you could wear it like a man bag or something, or a purse. Either way, I don't like it.
What kind of wallet do you have now? Do you have one of those just the open book one, or do you have a trifold?
It's an open book, but it has a battery charger in it. Attached to it.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, so I could charge my phone if needed. It's a really nerdy thing to have.
I see all the commercials on my Instagram and Facebook about like those metal wallets where it's like they're like paper thin and they just got enough to fit your cards.
That's kind of what I want because I really don't like carrying a wallet anymore.
Yeah, and that's why I lost my wallet, because as soon as I get wherever I'm going, I take my wallet out of my my back pocket and then I put it somewhere, and now I don't know where it is. But yeah, I hate carrying my wallet too. I hate having that thing in my back pocket.
It's a lot of stuff too.
Yeah.
Whenever available, I just use Apple Pay. So that'll.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I was thinking about today. Okay, what am I supposed to? What's in my wallet that I'm going to need? I'm like, well, all of my loyalty cards are on my phone. I just need a new driver's license, my debit, credit card, and my health card. And that's pretty much it. Everything else is on my phone. So
Tomorrow's gonna be fun.
tomorrow will be a fun day. Yeah.
So Ian says the holiday. I'm probably gonna mispronounce that because I'm reading it a certain way. It honors the birthday of an emperor, the reigning emperor from 1926 to 1989. That is quite a reign.
That is a rain.
Like, how old was he when he started to do that kind of thing? This week is Golden Week in Japan. We have 4 national holidays in a week, so most companies close for the whole week. That's kind of fun.
That sounds beautiful.
Yeah, it's kind of fun. Sounds golden, actually.
Yeah. Golden pony boy.
Stay golden.
All right, Chris, what'd you get up to this week?
All the stuffs. I read some things. We both read The Creature from the Black Lagoon #1.
Indeed, we did.
And I had hopes. I had hopes for this book. Coming off Dracula, which I think it could be argued as like either way, maybe. But I was still impressed with the way that it had a flow to it, and I was really happy with it. The art took a little getting used to, but that's fine. This one, though, right away, the art didn't work for me. But what made it worse is I don't like the story. I don't even understand what's going on. There is no creature, basically, in this book.
Yeah, that's right.
And then I was thinking, I kind of let it marinate a little bit. Well, the creature doesn't speak, so I assume there's not a lot you can do with the creature. But even still, what is going on? So I'm not too happy with The Creature from the Black Lagoon #1. I am going to read more to see where it goes, because it does end in a kind of interesting way. But after you've already read, 31 pages, does that 32nd page really matter?
That's right.
It's like, oh, it was Kaiser Sose all along. But I don't know. I didn't love it, to say the least.
Yeah, I would agree with you 100%. We'll start off with the art. It's where you started. This reminds me of like an Archie comic book style of
but a crappy
comic. One. Yeah, like it wasn't anything, which is funny because we came off Dracula, where the art was also a problem in quotations here, but only maybe for the first issue. And then the more we read the story, the more we got into the world of the Dracula comic, the art kind of blended itself into the story, and it worked. In the case of the Black Lagoon, I'm sure that could happen, but for me, the art feels very pedestrian. Whereas like Dracula really took like some bold chances, specifically, with the coloring and the watercolor and the wispiness of Martin Simmons' art. But something about the art for the creature first issue, just it didn't interest me. It didn't get me excited. Didn't even have me thinking like the Dracula one, where it's very good, but just not for me. I found the art in the Black Lagoon just not very good. So I agree with you about the art, and then the story. They did take a chance by making this a sequel to the movie, whereas Dracula was basically a retelling of the movie, just from
a different point of view.
Exactly, different perspective. So then with the Black Lagoon, it's a sequel to, The Creature from the Black Lagoon. And one of the concerns I had when they announced this book was the popularity of this character. And you're making this the second one that you're coming out with. Like for me, I always felt like the Creature was on the bottom of the Universal monsters in popularity and how much people know him and know the story of him, because I don't. And for me, I don't know if that's a problem, but like you're saying, he's not in the book. This is about this journalist, or I think her name's Katie or Kate, and her whole story, and then I'm thinking to myself, well, what do I care? Why do I care about this person? And if you're trying to make me care, then they didn't do a very good job in doing that. So yeah, for the first issue, this was not what I was hoping for or expecting. Because even if I didn't enjoy it, I was still expecting, I don't know, some kind of level, a quality level that was kind of on par with Dracula. When the creatives involved, you got Rom V, you've got Dan Waters, and Rom V. Yeah, sorry. And like, where is it? Where is that quality from? From two great writers and two great creators. It was kind of confusing to me all around when I read the first issue.
Yeah, and you would think the debut issue should be the one to hook everybody.
Yeah,
that's kind of its purpose.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no hook here for me. I'm like I said,
Mm-hmm.
I'm reading it. I'm going to read it just because I want to see where it goes. I just love Universal Monsters.
Sure.
So I'm in, and it also makes me question what is the Frankenstein book going to be now, especially when we're going to be so saturated with Frankenstein content toward the end of the year.
Types of Frankenstein content.
Yeah, we got the Bride coming out. We have the standard one with Oscar Isaac coming from Del Toro. So we have quite a lot of Frankenstein content. So where is that book going to fall?
Yeah, it was also surprising that not every book is the same either. I wonder if that's like you're saying, the Dracula is a retelling of the Dracula story, but from a different perspective. Now this creature is a sequel to the movie. I haven't looked too hard into the Frankenstein one. All I know is that Michael Walsh is involved in some way, shape, or form, which I'm excited about. But I don't know if it's just a telling of his story, or if it's a sequel idea or a spinoff. Anything, I'm not really sure. But yeah, like you're saying, it makes you question. Makes you question, where they're going now after this first issue of Creature. What kind of stories they are going to tell. I'm not sure.
Not good. Ian says, I read nothing last week. Too busy. Going to catch up this week. Want to read Dick Tracy and Dawn Runner #2. We'll get to Dick Tracy. Well, actually, I think that's all I read was this and Dick Tracy.
I think that was it for me as well. But
now, on the other side of the spectrum, Dick Tracy, I absolutely loved. I thought that was a really fun first issue. It does exactly what it needs to do. It introduces you to the character in a cool way, and it hooks you with what's going on in the story. And what I also appreciate about it is that if you're not familiar with Dick Tracy lore, which I'm really not, I was able just to jump into this because my only exposure is the old film. I remember the games at the time. There was one for Nintendo and I think a Genesis game. Those were fun. And I want to say there was an animated something, maybe not animated series, but like a movie or something. I can't remember. But that even saying that, I haven't watched any of that since I was a child, and I was still able to jump into this, and it was cool. I also really like the art. It has a cool noir style, even though the guy's wearing a yellow jacket. It's a very bright yellow jacket, and it's got so much style. Like you feel the time period it's in. It really works with the art and the dialogue. So really high on Dick Tracy, #1.
There's a Dick Tracy animated show from the 60s.
Oh, okay.
Old.
Then that's
130 episodes. But
yeah,
maybe that's what you see. Yeah. One thing surprised me about the book was how serious it took itself. From what I remember of the movie was the quirkiness of it, the kind of the goofy nature to it. Specifically when it came to like the villains, Flat Top, other ugly mug guys,
Big
exactly. Yeah, so I'm pretty sure that's Flat Top in this story, and then at the end you see the main bad guy. But yeah, so you mentioned like the noir nature to it. Again, that was my big surprise with the book, and something that I was not expecting was that they're taking themselves seriously. I was expecting more of a campy kind of fun book, but that didn't feel like this at all, and that caught me off guard the first time I read it. It's one of those things where you have expectations of what something should be. You read it and you're like, I don't like that. But then when you read it again, you're like, oh, that's what they're going for. It's just a guy in a bright yellow coat. That's the flashy part of it.
Yeah, I was kind of expecting like a comic book version of Batman 66.
Yeah,
Or because even I think the movie had some darker elements.
it did.
I think, but the only memories I have are the villains, the kitty, the chicken, and
Hmm.
Madonna. That's kind of what I
Yeah,
remember from.
that's right.
But I didn't even know they had toys. Ian says the toys were great. They were like wrestling figures.
Mm,
I don't think I had those. Maybe I did. He also had a walkie-talkie. That sounds fun.
that would be fun.
Yeah, walkie-talkies are a good time. Phil says the movie's an underrated gem. After reading the book, I want to go back and watch the movie. I don't know if it's
Yeah.
streaming anywhere. If I could watch it somewhere for free, I will. I don't want to pay for it. Ian is a fan of Madonna in that movie. I think most people were.
Hmm.
I just remember because, like, looking back, it reminds me of the Mask of the Phantasm for some reason.
Mm. Hmm.
Like, she's kind of like Andrea Beaumont.
Ah, interesting.
Fun ties that have no real tie. They're just fugazi. But I really enjoy this. I'm looking forward to the next issue. I think Mad Cave has got a pretty stellar hit on their hands.
Yeah, I'm interested to see where they go with this more of the the more of the villains. I just had to look some of them up. Their names are really good. Stooge, Shoulders, the Rodent, the Brow, Little Face, Flat Top, Itchy. And just looking at their characters, like the pictures, it just looks like that's what I was expecting, more of just weird looking characters and maniacal laughing and stuff like that.
I
So
think we'll get
it'll
to
be
that.
interesting. Yeah, and that's what I mean. It'll be interesting to see as the story goes along. It seems to me that like Mad Cave is, like you're saying, they're not in it for 6 issues. This one feels like they could go on for a little while as they tell the story and blend more of the villainous characters into it.
Hey, Diddy.
Yo, Zeddy,
Popping in say have a great week. Joe says not as hot as in Body of Evidence. I don't think I've ever seen that.
we're still talking about Madonna.
I think they are. I mean, she's popular.
Yes, yeah, I get it.
She's also one of the worst Bond films, in my opinion.
The worst.
Well, one of the worst. There is, I think, a worse one.
Bad song, bad actress, bad character.
I don't mind the
Oh, good.
song. I've heard worse. But anyway, that's what I read. Just those two books. That's all you read?
Yeah, that's all I read as well. I purchased some things, but I was talking about this with you. My physical stuff hasn't come in yet, so I got Feral #2, a physical of that. Spectrograph #1 was out this week, and then Blasphemous #2 as well. Both of those are from Distillery that I have.
Yeah,
so,
I bought Spectra. Is that what it's called? Spectrograph?
Spectrograph, yeah.
Yeah, I bought it. It's on my counter. I'll read it eventually.
Oh, it's a paperweight right now for Chris.
It is. It looks cool though, and I like the cover I got.
Yeah.
I didn't know there
Do you
was
remember
multiple
what
covers.
you got? Oh God, Distillery's all about their covers.
I
Remember
think
which
it
one
looks
you
like
got?
a mansion with like a red.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's a cool one.
That's the one I got.
That's a 1 in 10 variant too. That's a hot cover there, Chris.
Oh, is it?
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna make a great paperweight. And the problem with
if
those,
only they knew, eh?
They
if
don't
only
fit
they
where
knew.
I throw the other comics, the Distillery books. So they have to have a different spot to hold down.
That's right. They have their own spot reserved in your house.
Yeah, I gotta make a little area just for Distillery books.
Mm-hmm.
Those larger format because they're really nice. That's why I wanted it. I figured also it's Tynan, and for some reason somehow I become a Tynan fan. I think we both have.
Yep.
So when he makes something, I'm curious now. I'm going to read it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Christian Ward on art too, which we're both fans of.
Mm-hmm.
So very excited to read that. Hopefully next week or the week after. I'll get my big old ship box from my comic book store. But that's pretty much it for my reads as well. I think that was it. Yes, I still want to get to Batman Dark Age.
Mm-hmm.
but haven't got around to that yet. So yeah, that was it for my my reads. What'd you watch this week, Chris?
I thought I watched a lot more, but apparently I didn't.
Mm-hmm.
I watched more Fallout. I'm still not done with it. I'm kind of taking my time, but I am watching it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's really good, which I think is kind of a unanimous thing now. Everybody seems to love this show.
I was wondering about that. It seems pretty yeah, like you're saying, unanimous that it's a really well made show
Mm-hmm.
for people who have played the game or haven't played the game.
Yeah, and what's cool about it is we're having decent video game adaptations now. Gone are the days where Double Dragon, the movie, is what we had. We actually have quality things to watch based on these IPs. And I
Mm-hmm.
just enjoy that. And this particular, I think, does a really good job of welcoming people to the franchise because I've never played the game and I understand it
Mm-hmm.
all. You know, kind of like the way The Last of Us did as well. I didn't have to play the game and I still got it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's always a good sign because it seems like the video game adaptations either go one way or the other. They just abandon everything, or they go too hard into the lore, and then you're lost. This new
Right.
trend is like a happy medium, I think,
Mm-hmm.
unless we're talking about Uncharted, which I don't want.
But let's not.
Yeah, let's not. So I'm enjoying Fallout. I'm still a few episodes away from the finale, though.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I wanted to get to Dead Boy Detectives. Joe mentioned that. He said it was okay. I really wanted to
Mm-hmm.
see that, but I'll probably finish Fallout first.
Yeah, I've been meaning to get to a bunch of Netflix shows. Dead Boy Detectives being one of them as well.
Yeah, and that baby reindeer thing, I don't know what it is. Apparently, it's a
It's
YouTube.
everywhere. That's what I know.
I
Everyone's
thought it was,
talking about it.
and of course, I thought it was actually about like a killer baby reindeer or
Of
something.
course you did.
I did. It's
Leave Sweet
not.
Tooth alone. Leave Gus alone.
The final season's coming. I didn't even watch the second season
That's right.
though. Bill says Bill won. Video game adaptations, rather in movies or TV shows, have been killing it. Amazing how far things have come. I agree. Um, I think my two favorite adaptations lately have been the two Castlevania series and also Last of Us. I really enjoyed Last of Us.
Hmm. I think they're just taking them more serious now.
I think
I
so
think
too.
they're taking the genre seriously. That they're actually storytelling devices, not just like a Double Dragon where you punch people.
Well,
I think that's what it is.
I think games have also come a long way too because we have so many
Yep.
more complex stories. And I'm like, when you try to adapt Double Dragon, there is nothing there.
Hmm.
It really is just two brothers fighting their way through whatever for who
Yep.
cares.
Hmm.
It's a different ball game now. Phil
Hmm.
Chu says, yeah, and then there's Borderlands. So when I went to the theater the other night, I saw the trailer for Borderlands on the big screen,
Hmm.
and if it had like from James Gunn, like a title card from director James Gunn, was like, oh, okay, it's like Guardians 4.
That's right.
It's like they copied his homework, every detail. It is all there. It's amazing how they even got away with this.
Hmm.
Um, but it looks fun. I'm still going to see it. Knuckles was also okay. I do want to watch Knuckles.
Same.
Phil too also likes Knuckles. Ian says Arcane is still my favorite. Did you watch that?
No.
I actually didn't know it was based on a game. I thought it was just an anime.
Mm.
Maybe I'll get to that too. Joe says Baby Reindeer was pretty good. Very weird look at human trauma and the consequences of that trauma. So definitely not a reindeer.
Is it a real like based off a real something or based off a book, or is it an original idea, Joe? Do you know what it's about? I have no idea what it's about, so I just know that every time I turn on Netflix, it's right there on the main screen.
It's pretty popular.
Hmm.
So yeah, that aside from Borderlands, not Borderlands, Fallout, I watched Justice League Crisis on Infinite Earths Part 2.
Hmm.
I think that they need quality control.
Did you talk about part one on here, or did you mention
I
liking it or
probably
not? I can't
did,
remember.
but it's so terrible. I don't like to speak about it. Like if one is bad, this is dog shit.
Hmm.
That's the way I would say. This movie's terrible. So I watched that. I rewatched
And
Logan.
onward.
Yeah, moving on. I rewatched Logan because why not?
Hmm.
I've been in an X-Men.
Well, I'll give you a why not, Chris. you don't really enjoy that Logan, that Wolverine.
That is
So
correct.
there's your why not right there, Chris.
Yeah. Well, no, I
You're
like
one
him.
of like, okay. Before you get into it, how do you think that's movie split for Wolverine fans? Like, do you think it's as popular as it is, or like from what I understand, from what I've seen, there's a lot of people that don't like that movie
Really?
and don't like that version of Logan and don't like how it ended and anything like that and where the story went. And then there's obviously people on the other side who find great enjoyment and I think it's a great film. But do you see the division between some people with that movie?
No, I always thought I was the
Mm.
minority
Mm.
because I do like it. I would say I even love it. It's one of the best comic movies made, but
Hmm.
it's just not what I would have wanted
Yeah.
for the character. But it's still a
Hmm.
good watch. Action's great. Hugh Jackman's always good. You get two of them for no apparent reason. So that was fun.
You just
What?
throwing things in there, trying
It's
to.
just making a full opinion about it. I think we've gone over this before. The highlight of my week, though, weekly watches was X-Men '97. No surprise, and the Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare.
Oh, that's the Guy Ritchie one that you've
It's
been
a Guy
talking
Ritchie
about.
movie with Henry Cavill.
Hmm.
This movie was so much fun.
Hmm.
Like I thought the trailer was cool, but I didn't really pay much attention to it because okay, it's Guy Ritchie. It's got Henry Cavill. I'm gonna see it anyway.
Hmm.
And so watching it though, it was really really entertaining, and I didn't know it was a true story, so that was cool. And it has some. Do you know anything about it?
No, I
Okay,
thought it was a pirate movie because I saw Henry Cavill on a boat
he's killing
and have a
Nazis.
beard. Yeah, and then you mentioned that a while ago. I'm like, I have no idea what this is.
Yeah, no, definitely not a pirate movie.
Yeah.
So it takes place. I think it was during World War II. They're basically
Hmm.
trying to eliminate some Nazis, but it's a true story, which is cool.
Hmm.
And because it's a true story, it features Ian Fleming as an actual human being in it.
I love that so much.
I do too, and it also has M in it, or who I guess was M. These aren't spoilers.
Hmm.
It's the first like 5 minutes of the film,
Hmm.
and I found out a lot of people knew that going into it, so I was
Hmm.
just in the dark. I didn't pay attention to the trailers and whatnot.
Hmm.
But this was really fun. I think Henry Cavill is very charismatic in it. It's a role that you get to see him actually do something in, which is
Hmm.
nice because I feel like in Argyle he was just there. You know, he didn't do much. They gave him a stupid haircut and he just sat there. Um, so this was fun, and the whole cast is good in it, and the action's uh, really well done. And I
Hmm.
think the realistic aspect adds something to it because it's almost like a fun version of Inglorious Bastards,
Hmm.
which I really love. If I
Hmm.
had a critique on it, it would just be that it doesn't feel like a Guy Ritchie movie, which I don't think is really a bad guy. I mean, a bad thing.
Hmm.
So there's that.
Well, I was gonna mention that for the limited Guy Ritchie movies that I've seen, aside from his two earlier ones, Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels and Snatch, all his other movies kind of felt the same to me. I remember when I was watching the King Arthur one he did with
I like that.
Charlie Hunnam. What is
Mm-hmm.
that one called? King Arthur or just
Yes,
Arthur?
yeah, okay.
Anyway, so there's a scene at the start of that movie where the character is like running through town and it's got like the Guy Ritchie action that he does, and it kind of felt out of place to me in that type of movie. So then I was wondering, or I often wonder if every one of his movies are like that. And I think The Gentleman is unlike those things and is
Sort
more
of.
in line with Lock, Stock, Two Smoking Barrels and Snatch.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. So then I wonder if this one is like the early ones, or it's just new Guy Ritchie kind of evolving as time goes along.
I think it's an evolution.
Nice.
Phil says to sum it up, it's the story of what inspired Ian Fleming to create James Bond. Henry Cavill plays the guy James Bond is based off of. It's pretty cool.
There you
As,
go.
as, a, as a big Bond fan, I was like, that is amazing. But I didn't
Hmm.
know that was happening. He says, I watched Days of Future Past again yesterday. I don't love it. The time travel aspect doesn't make any sense. Even worse now that Wolverine has joined the MCU. Logan is perfect, though. That's a lot of blasphemy in one message, Ian. Jeez. Save some for the next comment, why don't you? Phil too said they saw it in the theater for the first time last night.
Hmm.
Have you seen Aladdin?
Like the live action one?
Mm-hmm.
Is that
With Guy
Guy
Ritchie?
Ritchie? No,
Yeah,
no, have not seen.
it's I kind of like it actually.
Hmm.
It's not too bad. It's kind of it's almost shot for shot, but then they do something different with the ending.
Yeah, I'm not sure I've seen any of the live action Disney movies that they've done.
Of the ones I've seen, I think I like Aladdin best, but I also am very partial to the animated one.
I
So
saw the
that
Jungle Book. I think I've seen the Jungle Book. That's the one I've seen.
that's the one I haven't seen. I think I've seen all the other ones.
Hmm.
I actually like Beauty and the Beast live action more than I do animated. But I'm also just not a fan of Beauty and the Beast. Period. I don't like the idea of it.
Oh, really? Oh, that's one of my faves.
I think it's bizarre. She falls in love with the animal.
That's right. She falls in love with his heart and his soul, Chris.
He
What's
is
on
an
the
animal.
inside?
He is an animal, though. I get it. I get the point of the movie. There's a really nice moral message there. Don't
Nah.
read a book by its cover. Sure. But if the cover is furry and has fangs and horns, you probably shouldn't, you know,
It all worked out in the end.
did it? Who knows?
Who knows?
I don't know. Ian says live action Jungle Book is the best. I've heard that actually.
It's good. Yeah, I agree.
This.
All right, listen here, you two. Let's just tone it down a notch.
It's right there. Because what if he didn't turn back into a human at the end? Then what? Are they gonna live happily ever
But
after?
he did.
But what if he didn't?
But he did is the answer.
But what if he didn't? These are questions that we must ask ourselves.
Of course, you two must. Disney movies, for God's sakes.
I'm just saying. Anyway,
Moving
moving on.
on. Yeah.
What did you watch this week?
So I only watched 2 movies this week. A couple TV shows, but the one was Immaculate, and that I finally got to earlier in the week. I think that was earlier in the week when it was, or I can't remember when I was talking to you about it. So that was a good time. I think you liked it more than I did because I think you loved it, but I had a good time with it. I thought it was, for I don't want to say it's accessible, but like it's 80 minutes. It's pretty quick. The violence isn't horrible in it. I would say.
No.
There's a couple of parts. The ending is a bit much for me. Like the direct ending, like the last, I don't know, what is it, 45 seconds, a minute?
Oh,
Like, yeah, that kind of stuff. It was just a little bit much for me personally, but it was an interesting story. The idea with the Christ nail, all that kind of stuff. And I was talking about this with a friend about religious horror, or horror with religion in it is some of the most scary to me, because it feels like it could be the most real. Like I always think about The Mist, how that's one of the scariest movies that I've ever seen, and it's all because of that crazy Marisha Gay Harden as the religious nut in the grocery store.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like that kind of stuff, because it feels to me like those people exist in the real world, and those people out in like fanatics and even like cults, not just religious people, but like a cult following type of thing. Like in the opening scene where the lady escapes from the whatever it is, the convent or whatever, and the four nuns or the 4 things with the red masks on are walking at her. Like, okay, I'm scared already because just the religious aspect of it is always freaks me out a little bit. Yeah, so I like that idea. Another thing I found interesting about the movie is that aside from Sydney Sweeney, these are people that I have no idea who they are. And I like to commend movies sometimes where I find enjoyment in them when the people who are talking, I have no idea who they are, and they could just be regular people. Like, what do you say when how much a movie costs? You always have funny lines. The way a movie looks with how much they spent on it.
A
Yeah.
couple of Happy Meals.
Yeah, a couple of Happy Meals. That's what this movie could have been, because it's pretty straightforward, pretty simple, not too much CGI. Probably just a little bit, specifically when that girl's getting her tongue cut off. Yeah, that was a close one. Getting her tongue cut off. But yeah, so I had a good time with it. I'm glad I watched it. And I hadn't watched a horror movie in a while, and I'm trying to, you know, lead up to watching more horror movies right now. And you're trying to get me to watch The First Omen,
Yes.
and that the Devil movie that they were talking about. What's Devil in the what?
The Devil Meet the Devil Late Night something. Late Night with
Something.
the Devil.
Yeah. So that one I want to get to, and then Abigail, still haven't got to yet. It's not in theaters up close to me yet. Hopefully it does.
I
But
don't
if
think
not,
so.
so yeah, probably not.
It had a huge drop this weekend.
Oh, did it? Oh, that's too bad. Yeah, so Immaculate feels like a first good stepping stone in my. Thank you, Phil. Number one feels like a good stepping stone into The First Omen, which I want to watch just so you can talk about it, because I think there's something in there that you really want to talk about.
Yes.
So we'll get to it.
And I feel like when you see it, you're going to know exactly what I'm talking about.
I can imagine.
There's just something in there. You thought the tongue thing was wild.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Immaculate, the only actress I recognized was the friend, because I think she is I think that's Yennefer from The Witcher. I'm almost positive.
Oh, that's who that was.
Yeah.
Oh, that makes sense.
She was the only familiar face for me in that movie. And then in The First Omen, I believe the only familiar face was Bill Nye.
Mm.
Yeah, I think that was the only one.
That's a horror thing, though. Just get a whole bunch of people you don't know into a movie and make it scary, and
I wonder if it's easier to kill on, like, I don't want to say not like people that aren't famous, but sure. if it's more shocking when you kill someone who you're not as familiar with.
Maybe. That's an interesting idea.
I don't know, because maybe like you said, they look like normal people.
Yeah.
But then I guess in Scream they killed Drew Barrymore in the first 5 minutes.
Indeed, they did.
Spoiler.
And then everyone else in the first 5 minutes forever and ever.
It's a good time. But thinking about First Omen and Immaculate, they're kind of blending together for me right now, and I'm trying to remember who's in which. They're very, very similar movies. It's amazing how closely released they are. Yes. Because they're so similar. There's like a Dante's Peak volcano situation.
Remember that time? That was a good time.
Yeah, we had a couple of those. There was another. One was Deep Impact. Was Armageddon its counterpart?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I've seen Deep Impact. I have not seen Armageddon. Mm-hmm. I saw Dante's Peak. Not
Wait, what? You said you hadn't seen Armageddon? You saw Deep Impact?
Yeah, I've not seen Armageddon before.
Yeah, I'm the other way around. I never saw Deep Impact.
It's okay. None to write home about. Ian said, Challengers is the movie I want to watch the most, but not here for a while. Heard nothing but good things. Yes, so that movie I was trying to go see, but I've had back-to-back migraines for 2 days, so it was just out. Mm-hmm. I'll get to it.
Dang.
Dante's Peak is so good. Yeah, Dante's Peak is a good time. Plus Pierce Brosnan.
That's the one with Pierce Brosnan and what's her name? Linda Hamilton, right?
Maybe.
I think Linda Hamilton's in that one.
Maybe.
Or I'm thinking about Volcano. Volcano's the one with Tommy Lee Jones.
Yes.
Yeah, so she's in Dante's Peak. Linda Hamilton's in Dante's Peak for sure.
Okay. Well, I just know James Bond versus Volcano, so I was in.
His PP7.
He does what he's got gadgets. He can stop a volcanic eruption.
That's right. Hey Q, I need something.
He'll get away from using the Aston Martin that flies.
Yeah, that's right.
He'll be fine. I assure you.
Okay, the other movie that I watched was Rebel Moon, Part 1. But now that I saw Part 1, I really need to see Part 2.
Okay.
Which is the thing I wasn't expecting, because after you watched Part 1, after Zeddy watched Part 1, after some others watched Part 1, that was all of the parts they wanted to see. But for me, I need to see Part 2 to see what the hell Zack Snyder was thinking making this movie. So I'm very interested to see where it goes, in a sense that I'm hoping for redemption in a way. Because Part 1 is not a good movie. So I'm interested to see, or so I don't think it's a good movie. I did not have a good time watching it. For part two, I'm hoping that because it is part two and there's a part one, that there is some kind of continual storytelling, continual anything, character arcs, character
Well,
anything.
he said as much that two is
Okay,
the. I guess like if you look at the Dune sequels, Dune one is the setup,
right,
Dune two is the payoff. I think
sure,
these were kind of the same in a way.
okay,
I haven't seen the second one yet. I'll get to it
sure.
this week though.
Yeah, so just for my own, well-being, my own interest, I just want to see where it goes with some characters,
Mhm.
because after part one, I'm not interested in so many of the characters that we saw. So I'm interested to see where that goes with part two.
Oh, did you see the that anime thing he's doing or animation?
No, I didn't know that was a thing.
Okay, I'm kind of in that. I think it's called Twilight of the Gods. I don't know if it's going to be
Mm,
anime, but it's something animated.
hmm
Might be fun. Looks kind of cool.
It's not in the Rebel Moon universe. It's something entirely different. Is that
Yeah, it's a different project.
okay?
I think Rebel Moon is just one and two,
Hmm.
and then I guess whatever else he wants to do.
Gotcha.
Phil two says more like Seven Samurai than Dune, but oh, okay. So yeah, it's some here, some there.
Cool.
Yeah, I'll check it
Yeah.
out. This oh, there's comics too. I know there's comics.
Oh, Rebel Moon. Yes, I thought I saw some of them floating around.
Okay. Phil two says I like both parts, but depending who you talk to, I'm a Snyder show with no taste.
Hey, we welcome those people here, Phil number two, anytime,
Wait, that
anytime.
needs to be like a block. You know, like the blockbuster cards. There needs to be like a card like that, but laminated.
That's right. Just show it to people.
Yeah, we could do it for a lot of directions. Like here's my Nolan card,
That's
my
right.
Danny Villeneuve card.
That's right. I am a Nolan stan with no taste.
Right? Or
Yeah.
even I'm sure there's a fan of like I don't know what's the guy's name who made the Rush Hour movies?
Oh,
Brett
Brad
Ratner.
Ratner.
I'm a
Oh.
Brett Ratner fan. I don't know.
Dear.
We need to get those cards made
Yeah. Yeah. Um,
or buttons like they wear at TGI Fridays.
yeah, just with the stupid thing from Office Space, more was it more flair?
Yeah, more flair.
The more flair.
We'll get some of those.
I'm not even sure why I watched Rebel Moon to begin with, because I was initially going to not watch it, and I think you asked me a couple of times if, oh, are you going to watch it, and I said no, no, and it was more on the idea that like I just didn't want to be involved in the conversation of Rebel Moon and of Zack Snyder anymore, because it's such a painful topic and hard to have conversations with people about it sometimes. But then I think I was just sitting at home, not doing anything late at night. Um, and much like I saw Baby Reindeer all over Netflix, like every time I turn on Netflix, like there's a Rebel Moon
Mm-hmm.
just right in your face. So like the Netflix model got me. It suckered me in and got me to put it on. So they win this round.
That's how it works.
Yeah, man, that's how they
So
get
Phil one gets a specific card here. Hello, I'm here to talk to you. I'm here to talk with you today about our Lord and Savior, Christopher Nolan.
you. Yeah, Phil's one of those walking Jehovah's Witnesses, that go around to people's houses.
But I'd imagine instead of the white shirt and the tie, he's got the waistcoat on.
Yeah, he the waistcoat and the scarf.
Mm-hmm.
He's got the scarf on. Yeah, yeah,
I knew a
yeah.
Jehovah's Witness once. He was a nice dude. But anyway,
Oh, I'm sure they're fine people.
yeah, he was a nice dude. Um, I didn't hate Rebel Moon one though. It wasn't really for me, but I didn't
Yeah,
hate it.
yeah.
And now that you're gonna watch the second one, I guess I'll watch it too. Our
Yeah,
fate will be the same.
I tried to pressure you into watching it last week so we could talk about it today, and thankfully it didn't work too much.
Now, what would have been great is if I would have watched it and you didn't, and let's say I hated it, then you
Yeah,
probably would have watched it next week.
yeah, that's right. Just talk. We'll talk about one movie every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
That's our plan from now on.
Frank says, I can't wait for the director's cut. I'm interested if Netflix thinks Rebel Moon is a success or not. We'll see. Yeah, I'm kind of curious how that works too, because it's not like, okay, so many people paid for tickets or anything. It's how many streams were watched and what justifies a budget for any streaming movie, really, not just Netflix, but on anything. I'm kind of curious how that works.
Yeah, I think from the little that I understand about streaming, It's not more or less who starts a movie. I think they
Mm.
count who finishes a movie. And I think that's something that they track, especially with TV shows. Like I think I read something a while ago that they track how long it takes you to finish a series. So
Yes, I've heard that.
if you watch 2 episodes in one night, but then you don't go back, for a week or 2 weeks and then finish it off, that's usually not a good thing. They want you to watch it nonstop, continually. And I wonder if that's what's interesting about the Rebel Moon idea is that the part 1 and 2ness of it. So if, like, for me, I didn't watch part 1 when part 1 came out.
Mhm.
I watched part 1 after part 2 came out. So are you getting the people like me, not people who didn't want to watch it but who missed it maybe? And now they're saying, oh, there's a part 2. I need to go back and watch part
I
1.
I would say there's probably also people who wanted to wait till both parts were out to watch them back to back.
That's
Because
true
that was
too.
initially what I wanted to do. I was okay. I'm just going to watch them back to back.
Mm-hmm.
But then I had nothing else to do. I was like, well, I'm going to give it a shot.
Yeah, well, and in that case, for me, I'm glad that there's a part 2 right after to watch, because after part 1, there's so much left for it. Like, if this was one movie, I would be like, because there's so many confusing things in it. Not confusing
Yes.
story wise, both confusing story wise, but not confusing where I don't understand. It's more confusing about why the hell did you do that? Like, what is the point of all of these things? So in that case, I'm glad there's a part 2 because I can watch it and be like, okay, it's one movie more or less. Now I can be like, okay, that's the full aspect, and I can give I can be honest with my feelings about it after seeing the fullness of it.
Frank says 166 million for 2 movies that each come with the director's cuts. It's 4 releases. Such an interesting approach. I agree. I didn't know it was 166 for both of them though. That's actually kind of cheap if you think about it. As
Mm-hmm.
most big action films cost 100 to 150 anyway. If he
Mm-hmm.
did 2, or I mean, they're going to get 4 releases out of that. That's got to mean something, right?
Well, and we were talking about it with Immaculate, how the budget, and a lot of that was based on the actors. I think Rebel Moon is the same kind of way.
Maybe.
There's just some people, there are some people that you may recognize, but there's no, at least in the first one, I haven't seen the second one, but there's no heavy hitters in the movie, not one. Like, and what's his name, Digimon Hansu, he's in it for.
Well,
He has 3 speaking lines in it, 4 or 5.
but that's in the
Like,
first one.
yeah, that's what I mean. I've only seen the first one, but like based off the part 1 alone, like there's no real heavy hitters, and a heavy hitter like Digimon Hansu doesn't have that much to do in it in the first one. So
Anthony Hopkins is also not in it a lot, but I know he's in the second one a lot as the voice of that thing, which I really love the design of that thing.
Mm-hmm.
Phil 2 says he shot both back to back events. He shot 2 sets of each movie. The R-rated cuts have different line delivery and sequences. That's kind of confusing to me, but we'll see how it plays out.
Mm-hmm.
Carrie Ells is also in it. Okay, that's interesting. Bill 1 says director's cuts intrigue me the most when it comes to Rebel Moon. Yeah, I am curious.
Well, and that's the thing about the model. Okay, here's 2 movies. You like them or you didn't like them. Here's the same movie, but it's different. So watch these ones too. And like Netflix for a lot of people is just, let's sit down and I'll watch it. It's Netflix is TV basically to a lot of people, to the majority of people, I think.
Mm-hmm.
It's the turn on and leave on, like TV or cable.
Yeah.
So I think that's the model they're going for, is that we release the content, you will watch it. So here's 4 versions of 2 movies.
Enjoy.
Exactly. Or not enjoy. We don't care. As long
if
you watch it from start to finish, I don't care if we don't care if you dislike it or like it.
Did you watch anything else?
So switching to TV shows, watching more of Young Sheldon. I think there's 2 episodes left, maybe 3 episodes.
I think it's 10 total, isn't it?
Yeah, so I think that's right. And this one, past one, was 9 or 7 or 8. Anyways, it's interesting. Sheldon was picking his school that he's going to when he leaves home, which is interesting. More Mandy and Georgie stuff, which I'm really digging. So yeah, Young Sheldon's great. And then the series finale of Shogun was last week. which was quite an interesting wrap up and finale to the show. I listened to a show called Oysters, Clams, and Cockles. It's a podcast. They do reviews of Game of Thrones stuff, and they reviewed season 4 of True Detective, and they did one for Shogun. And I was listening to it afterwards, and I mentioned this about the last episode, about the penultimate episode, about how it was a TV show unlike anything that I'd seen before, and how it felt very different from North American type shows. And the season series finale laminates that fact over and over, like how different this show is. Like, a big setup for a big battle, like, like Battle of the Bastards type of deal. And how they subvert your expectations for a big battle, and how a TV show is supposed to, rise and climax and end and anything like that. So it's a very interesting way of storytelling, specifically in the last episode where they get a little existential and a little dreamy, like dreams and alternate timelines, not universes, but different timelines. It's a very interesting season finale, and one that surprised me, much like the entire show did as it went along. But I'm so glad that I continued watching the show. Like Ian said, there is some very tearful moments in that season finale, and it's just as you and I, like Chris, it's just two people talking. That makes it very, 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 very good and very.
I always
very
enjoy that.
Yeah, exactly. So Shogun season finale, series finale was great. Very different though.
Now that's over, I can watch it, I think.
Yeah, I'd give it a shot for sure.
I've seen so many people talking about it, so I feel like I have to, just to understand. I want to be part of the cool kids.
Yeah, man.
I don't want to wait years like I did with other shows. Like Breaking Bad took me a long time to get to.
6 Feet Under, 20 years later.
Yeah, I don't think I'm one of the cool kids for watching that, though. I'm having a hard time getting through 6 Feet Under.
That's yeah.
It's a difficult show.
Yeah, it is.
I enjoy it, but it's difficult. Like, The Sopranos is something I've never watched either. I probably won't. So I'm not going to be one of the cool kids in that. But Shogun, yeah, I'll join you guys. I'll join the club.
Join you in the sun.
Yeah, that's what we'll do. If they gather in the sun, maybe they do.
Sure they do. Why not?
Do they gather on Sundays?
You have to. I think it's mandatory.
Gathering of the Shogun? I think Shogun is plural.
That would have been a good name for a podcast show, Chris. The Gathering of the Shoguns.
Next time. Boy, it's not getting a season 2.
Yeah, no, it's not.
We'll do a little spoiler thing after I watch it.
That's right. Gathering of the Shoguns. Oh, that would have been good.
Maybe we'll get Ian with us. We'll do a full retrospect. That'll be fun.
That was pretty much it for me. I tried watching The Beekeeper. I didn't do it, so I watched John Wick instead. And then after you watch one John Wick, you just keep watching them. So I love those
I guess you were back.
Yeah, I just love those movies so much. I watched 1 and 2, split between the last 2 weeks ago and last week. So it's such a good time.
Frank just started watching Modern Family. I love Modern Family. It's such a fun show. It's hilarious. I've seen the majority of it.
It's still on?
No, it's been done for a while. I also started to watch something. I turned it off last night, but I turned it off because the commercial started to irritate me. I was watching Dracula, then loving it because YouTube has it for free with ads, but the ads come at the weirdest times.
Oh, they're not at like scene breaks?
No, they'll be like mid joke, and it'll freeze on Leslie Nielsen's face, and then it's a stupid ad for Furiosa. Well, I shouldn't say stupid ad because I want to.
I was going to say, slow down here.
You know what? It's an ad, and also I've seen way too many of those ads at this point. I just want the movie. Furiosa is going to be one of the movies of the year, I think.
Oh, so it's going to be so good.
Yeah, I can't wait for Furiosa.
Amazon has really good commercials.
Amazon's
good commercial breaks. Yeah, but they're broken up at a good time. It feels like for the ones that I've seen.
Yeah, and you can also see where the commercials are with Amazon. Whereas YouTube, it's a total surprise. You don't even know how many you're getting. So I watched like 30 or 40 minutes of it. I was like, nope, I am done. Do you have any plans for Star Wars Day?
Yes, as a matter of fact, I do, and it's Fortnite related. So there's an update for Fortnite on May the 3rd, and Star Wars is coming back to Fortnite. So me and my son are jazzed up to do that. That's pretty much it. Yeah. Also, that the new shorts that they're doing on Disney Plus. Ian, help me out here.
I think I'll
Tales of the Sith. They did Tales of the Jedi a little while ago, with stories about young Qui-Gon and stuff like that. So now they're doing Tales of the Sith, so backstories on Sith um, from the Star Wars universe, which I really love. Tales of the Jedi, so I'll hopefully I'll get to watching Tales of the Empire. Thank you, Phil. Number 2. That's it.
Oh, okay. Didn't know that was a thing. I realize I don't really like Star Wars animation. Doesn't do it for me.
Sure.
Anyone going to see Phantom of the Menace? Seems like a couple of people are.
Oh, it's re-released in theater.
Yeah, they're re-releasing that one.
Nice.
Ian saw the Furiosa trailer at IMAX last week. Looked incredible. Yeah, that trailer in IMAX, it is a thing of beauty.
Mm-hmm.
And if I can, like, that film has to be seen on the biggest screen possible for me.
Yeah.
I can't wait. I have to see that in IMAX. I saw Fury Road on a giant screen. It was amazing. So I'm very excited. Very excited.
I remember when the Furiosa trailer came out, and I watched the trailer on my phone, and I was like, "Oh, this doesn't look very good." Like visually, it didn't look very good to me. I knew that the story would be okay and the action would be cool, but then I saw Frozen Empire, they had a Furiosa trailer there. And the trailer, like you said, on the big screen, and it's not the biggest screen where I go, but it's any kind of screen bigger than the one you have at home. It looks so good.
Mm-hmm.
So good. It's I can't wait for the movie. It's going to be so good.
Like Phil one says, cinema.
Yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful cinema.
Beautiful, beautiful cinema.
Pretty excited for that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you going to do anything for Star Wars Day? Or you're just going to nothing?
Yeah. Well, it's also new free comic book day on May 4th.
Yeah.
So I'm excited for that. I'll go to the comic book store, pick out some stuff,
mm-hmm.
and then I'm going to probably play Jedi Survivor or something. I don't know.
Nice.
If I was going to do that anyway, it has nothing to do with Star Wars Day. I was just going to do that anyway.
Yeah. That's the best part about Star Wars.
Star Wars Day.
Every day is Star Wars Day.
I was wearing a Grogu T-shirt yesterday, and I was checking out the dog food store, and the clerk asked me, "Am I doing anything for Star Wars Day?" I didn't even realize what brought that up, and then he pointed at my shirt. I was like, "Oh yeah." Yeah, I get it.
That's funny.
So, we'll see how it goes.
All right. Anything else, Chris? Anything else you want to chat about?
No. Oh yeah, Celebration's gonna be in Japan next year. That's interesting.
Hot ticket.
For me. I think it's gonna be a fun week. More X-Men.
I got to get caught up. I'm 2 behind now. After there's been 2 episodes since the big episode, right?
Yeah. We're starting the final arc this week.
Okay. I gotta catch up then.
You gotta get to it.
All right, Chris. Where can people find you in all of the things?
Everybody can find me on Twitter at thatchris70. You could also follow the podcast I do with my buddies Phil Walsh and Andy Caruso over at DC Unlimited Pod. As always, I would love it if you'd follow this show at G of the Geeks. Emmet is there with the rest of the plugs, so he will take over.
You can follow me on Twitter at EmmettDavis7. Gathering of the Geeks is available on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts. Just search for us and you'll find us at all those fine places. Thanks everybody for watching. Ian, Phil 1 and 2, Frank, Joe, Phil. I already said Phil. Zeddy, thanks for popping in quick. I think that was everybody. That was everybody. So thanks guys. Thanks so much for watching on this fine Sunday evening. Enjoy new comic book day. Enjoy free comic book day. Enjoy Star Wars Day. It's going to be a heck of a week. So in saying all that, for Chris and I am Emmet, and we gather on Sundays.
Memory is a monster.